So for this video, I wanted to take another crack at the Ral Storm Conduit combo, but I wanted to take the deck list that I was using the last time and try to make it a little bit better for best of one, just because I play a lot more best of one for time reasons. And in order to do that, I have decided to splash white. So what you see on the screen right now is the new list. The mana base is adding in a couple of the, two colored lands that are either blue-white or red-white to accommodate for the splash. And then I'm adding 3 copies of Deafening Clarion as a board sweeper. Should help you against the mono-white matchup. Hopefully help you against mono-red. That one's a little bit rough because you typically also need some health gain to kind of survive that. And then the other one that I'm splashing here is Dovin Hand of Control. This is for similar reasons. This can hopefully slow down mono red a bit, buy you some time, but it's also really good against some of the more mid-rangey lists that have, only 1 or 2 big threats. Being able to kind of lock one down for a while is helpful. And so anyway, those are the splashes that I've added, and we're going to go see how this deck performs in the best of one format. Jumping into some games here. Seems okay. Seems okay. Now the question is, are we going to run into aggressive decks, or are we going to run into the endless amounts of Esper? The last few days on the ladder, since the reset, I feel like all I've seen is Esper. Alright, it appears that this is going to be something a little bit more aggressive. That's okay. Oh. Dovin or Opt? Let's go with the Dovin.
I'm impressed anyone would be so
Let's do the Dovin now, just to establish dominance, assert ourselves. Alright, so I think this is going to be the feather deck, essentially. This is whenever it attacks, though, so it doesn't have to actually deal the damage. But there's nothing it can fish out at the moment either, so let's just do this, and then
elevate yourself.
We'll pass.
Perhaps a pair of stilts?
Try to opt at the end of the turn to find some more lands, while also maybe baiting out something more with the Clarion here. Interesting that they opted to leave that open. We have 2 Rals, so I'm gonna try to develop one of these as well.
We're studying contrasts. I'm
as opposed to
and
attempting the Clarion, because I assume they've got things to keep their board alive.
You're messing up my equation.
So the presence of Ral, one, makes them kind of
gauntlets?
choose between what they have to deal with here. Tough call. Yeah, let's just draw the land next turn. So it kind of makes them choose between which planeswalker they want to deal with, but also might bait out them using some of those steroids spells that I suspect they are sitting on over there.
Clearly, the shortcomings here were mine.
It's mostly the indestructible one that is the source of the issue at the moment.
Guild mage, planeswalker, genius inventor? I got it all.
Again, tempting. I think we let that through. And then as much as I want to use the Clarion, I feel like using the Insight to try to set up our combo is likely more important, so we're going to pass for now. Do this to get our chip damage in. Also draw the shock. So they've got enough juice to get rid of Ral. That's a problem.
I've been through worse.
Doesn't look like they do, and that is good news for us because we can go ahead and do this.
Better watch out. There's a storm brewing.
So we're gonna, again, take this trigger, submit, resolve, wait for this double cast to resolve, and then while this one is still on the stack, go ahead and take our expansion, which will give us the trigger that we will resolve. Resolve this double cast so that this happens. This copies the first expansion, which causes a trigger. At this point, we should be able to take off our full control because we have the combo. As long as we keep picking the proper expansion, we just win. This might be the first time that an opponent... Oh, I was gonna say, it might be the first time that an opponent actually lets me do it all the way to 0 before conceding, but anyway. There's one game down. Let's go play some more. Going into another game as my voice starts to fail me. And I think this is acceptable. Let's actually start. We're going to start with the fountain simply because this might make our opponent think we are on Esper. Alright, well they're on red anyway, so we are officially playing defense for quite a bit here. And we want the Clarion in this instance. Other than a 4/4 Steamkin, this essentially is a board sweep. And they are wasting no time. I assume this is going to be followed by a light up the stage or a skewer to get rid of my blocker. I'm gonna again go this route. Sure. Just because then we have the opt available. But we get another blocker. I don't think we want another opt at this point. Falls is a nice pickup though, so we will take 1 damage here. We have to be a bit careful because we don't have great ways to gain health. We have lots of ways to stall. Not great ways to gain health. We're gonna go ahead and do this because I also only have 2 lands. And this makes things
It's hard to be a genius
a bit
surrounded
more
by lesser minds.
expensive. And we'll pass. So we could do the -1 to prevent damage from this. The reality is, them attacking this is the same as us doing the -1. So doing this, I think, is
You're not entirely
reasonable.
incompetent.
They still only have the 2 lands, so there is a strong temptation, despite wanting to save this for a better board. We can really slow them down if we just use this now, keep the negate back. As long as this sticks around, we're in a good position, I think. So this is not the best Deafening Clarion that I've ever used. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and pass through. But given the board state, I think it's acceptable. Alright, we are a wee bit sad
I'm well equipped to deal with nuisances.
that we don't have a good way to deal with this right now. And we drew this a turn too late. The negate did not stop a Steamkin. And an unanswered Steamkin is a bit of an issue. Yeah. Again, this is kind of hampering them. We would like to keep it that way.
We're studying contrasts. I'm excellent, and you're
Getting
well,
the
not.
search up and running seems good. And then depending on what happens, we have the option for Ionize or Insight. Interesting. Let's go Graveyard and get this transformed. Because we've got a couple of Rals anyway. Let's go with our land per turn.
Beat me.
Just take the Scry. Because now we
For raw power,
just kind of hunt for
hurricanes beat
combo
dragons,
pieces.
No question.
I think we leave this up because they will still want to spend something on this, and again, with them only having 2 lands, I think it's actually better to force them to deal with that than spend the counter. So again, just given board state, I think this is better. And so now it's a question of, do I want to allow that or not? We can't activate this because we don't have enough mana back anyway. So, sure. Helps us begin to get some chip damage in. Again, this is just going to eat Dovin. No question in my mind about
An
that.
anomaly not to be repeated.
Couple of different paths that we can take here, actually. But I think doing this proactively makes an awful lot of sense. I think we just take the Clarion here. We could go with a -2 and then just shock this, which actually feels pretty decent, because at this point with the double cast, we're just waiting to find an expansion. That leaves us with this back to clear whatever else they have. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and take this.
It's easy. Quantum particles.
And just
blah, blah,
go for the shock here. Whoops. Whoops. Alright, we're going to pretend like I didn't just do that. This is why sometimes bad things happen. Because that is not going to be 2 shocks in that direction. That is a very feels bad. Where's my old oops there? I think I almost have to use this now. Which feels really bad. Because I can't leave the Steamkin on the board. That's terrible. So yeah, learn from my mistakes if you're watching this. Pay attention.
Come on. Breathe through it.
Pay attention. Again, we're just hunting for the expansion here. Now, I don't want to use Chemister's Insight yet because we have Jumpstart, but we'd have to essentially pitch Ral to do it, and we want to make sure that this one is going to survive before we go that route. So we want to wait and see where this is attacking. Yeah. So we're gonna do this instead. Well, we don't want another search, so I guess we're taking the shock.
Lucky shot.
Well, we're just gonna, I guess, pitch the shock that we went to find. Okay.
Not what I expected. That's why it's called a theory. You ready to throw down the gauntlet? I am.
And
I am judge, jury, and electrocutioner.
turn on the old full control here to make sure that we get our combo off properly. So we want that to go face, and then resolve. And then we want the -2 ability to resolve, so we get the copy of the double cast. And then we want the first double cast to resolve. And then we go with the expansion to copy this, which will then give us a ping here. And then the double cast will resolve, giving us another expansion copying here, which will give us a ping. And we can go ahead and turn off the full control at this point. And as long as we pick the first expansion, we can run our combo and get ourselves a nice victory here against Mono Red. So not too shabby. And this is actually going to be the first opponent that doesn't concede. That lets me get it all the way down. Death by 1,000 paper cuts, I guess. So, anyway, there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed yet more Ral Combo. I love combo decks. They're a lot of fun for me to play, so I'm probably going to tinker around with a few different builds. The other one I'm considering is, instead of splashing white, splashing black. I really like the idea of adding things like Thought Erasure, maybe some more Surveil things. So, who knows? But anyway, if you made it this far, thanks for watching.